Welcome. This video is a brief introduction to the Strengthening the Colorado Educator Workforce Pipeline Geographic Information System. The purpose of this video is to give a brief introduction on why place matters and how GIS works as a primer for discussions on educator shortages in Colorado. We'll discuss what is a GIS application, how it works, and provide a tour of the Colorado GIS application. Where a person lives, learns, and works can have dramatic impact on the outcome of their life. These place effects are the result of unequal access to resources and opportunities. In your own community, you may be aware of a part of town that is divided by a road or some other border. The people who live on the other side of the road may have less access to healthcare services, grocery stores, the homes may be valued less, and the schools have less resources. You could imagine that students in these communities struggle with additional issues outside of the school walls that may be impacting their learning. These place effects can also apply in the context of educator shortages. Educators, like most people, want to work in positive environments. For example, they may want to work close to where they live, have a good salary, and work with a strong principal leader. There are systems that may also be impacting educator shortages and contribute to these place effects. For example, there may not be a nearby educator preparation program to supply new teachers to a school, or there may be more competitive job opportunities nearby. A GIS application will allow us to see and unpack these place effects. Geographic information systems allows us to take data from multiple sources and visualize that data on a map. It can help us see that access to high-quality educators looks different for different students in different communities. How does GIS work? Let's talk about some basics to help you understand the application before you use it yourself. First, let's introduce some GIS terminology. The first term is points. Points are unique locations that have an X value and a Y value to define their location. This could include schools, businesses, historic sites. A line is a pair of points where one connects to the other and is often the natural boundaries in maps, such as roads, rivers, and railroads. And the last main term is polygons, an enclosed feature whose shape represents different kinds of data. It can also be thought of as an area. These are things like school districts, neighborhoods, and counties. Let's see what these terms look like in action. Here is a map of Colorado. Now we see a number of points on the map. In this map, we see polygons, which represent the shapes of school districts. Now let's go through a set of examples to better help you understand what a point, line, or polygon is in a GIS application. An interstate is an example of a line. A school district can be a bit tricky. If it is one building, it could be a point. However, often school districts represent a set of schools, in which case it would be an example of a polygon. The Denver Center for International Studies would be a single point. Any given city is another tricky example. When the map is zoomed out looking at the entire state of Colorado, Greeley would be a point. When we zoom in, we would see it as a polygon representing an area that has a lot of subsections within that we could break down further. Another important thing to understand about GIS is there are many options for how things can be visualized. There's various symbology that's used to visualize components on the map. This can include different shapes, colors, shades on a scale, depth, and dimension. The GIS application includes legends to help the user understand what the different shapes and colors represent. Now let's go through an example so you can understand how a GIS application works. Let's imagine we've taken Colorado's school performance rating data and symbolized the school points based on their ratings for the 2019-20 school year. The red points represent schools who are on a turnaround plan, the yellow points represent schools on a priority improvement plan, and the green points are schools on a performance plan. Overall, the school performance rating only tells us one small piece of the story. Now looking to the squares, they represent additional data that we can add to the story. Let's say we bring in some economic data, health data, labor market data, and other social factor data such as the percentage of single mothers with school-age children living in poverty. Using GIS, we can layer these additional data sources that can help us begin to understand how these various factors come together for different communities. Now we can see the different challenges that are intersecting that may be impacting our lowest performing schools. These can help us better understand their challenges and work together across different agencies to address these challenges, such as education and health collaborating. Now let's take you on a tour of the Colorado GIS application. This is how it appears when you first open the application. In the center, you will see the map. In this view, you can see the polygons are districts, which are currently shaded blue, and the points are schools represented by different color circles and squares. In the map, you can zoom in to see a district or school more closely. You can zoom in and out 3 different ways. First, by clicking the plus or minus sign in the bottom right-hand corner of the map, using your scroll wheel in your mouse, or by double-clicking within a district boundary. If you would like to see the data more clearly behind an individual point or polygon, you can click on it once, and a pop-up box will appear. You can see that the pop-up box tells you the name of the district and the data that is currently shown in the map. At the top of the page, you will see different tabs. Each tab is a different dashboard that focused on an essential question related to educator shortages and strengthening the educator workforce pipeline. Each dashboard includes a map with a unique set of data to explore. On the left-hand side of the screen, you will see the filters. This allows you to adjust the view and which data is shown in the map. For example, we can click the drop-down menu and see a particular set of data. In this drop-down menu, you can select the mobility and attrition rate for teachers, principals, and special service providers. These on-off buttons allow you to focus on a particular data set. Currently, you can see both the mobility and attrition rates at the district and school level, but you can turn off one to focus on just the school level. In other places, the buttons will allow you to toggle between different data sets, such as comparing mobility and attrition rates to unfilled positions. The slider bars allow the user to see the data focused on a specific population or data set. As you slide the bar across, the data sets that no longer apply begin to disappear. For example, if you want to focus on the teacher mobility attrition rates for districts based on the percentage of students of color, you would move the slider bar to a higher percentage, and only the districts or schools with those rates will appear in the map. In the right-hand corner of the page is the legend. The legend tells the user what the colors and symbology for the map means. Different symbols and colors indicate different information in the map. In this legend, we can see the circles and squares indicate schools, and the colors indicate the different mobility and attrition rates. For the polygons, the blue colors indicate the district mobility and attrition rate. In some of the dashboards, there are definition boxes. These boxes help to explain some context of the data displayed in the maps. These boxes may define terms or definitions for the data sets. For example, these boxes explain the definition of what school performance rating means and the district performance rating. Other boxes define the difference between mobility and attrition rates and unfilled positions, or describes the different educator shortage incentives or stipends available. In the teacher supply dashboard, we have additional tabs to view different maps that all address the teacher supply. The tabs are located on the bottom left-hand corner. The first tab is on Educator Preparation Program Endorsement Area, and the second tab is Educator Preparation Programs to Districts. This first tab looks at different unfilled positions by endorsement and how many individuals graduate from each educator preparation program in that endorsement area. The second tab explores where the graduates from each educator preparation program are employed. This concludes our tour of the Colorado GIS map. We look forward to using this tool to unpack the challenges and opportunities to help strengthen the Colorado educator workforce pipeline.